Jacob Fatu made his big return last night while still wearing the walking boot, and Pretty Deadly had themselves a little glimpse into their musical. Blech. We're going to get to that one in a second, but this is Hot Takes for Smackdown. Let's go ahead and dive into them. First up, JQL Girl says Jacob Fatu is absolutely overshadowing the rest of the Bloodline. As much as I like Solo's growth in recent weeks, Fatu is just so naturally engaging. A man who could beat up Roman on a walking boot is clearly the biggest threat, not the leader with a taped thumb. So, overshadow, yeah, maybe. I like the idea, though, that unlike Roman with the Bloodline, where it was primarily just Roman Reigns who can kick out of anything and he could deliver, a spear and a Superman punch and beat you, he had, the pieces in place to help him. Solo's different in that he basically has Jacob. Jacob Fatu seems to be the most powerful version, the most powerful member of the current Bloodline. And it's not just that he relies on everybody to do that stuff. Jacob Fatu seemingly is the guy that is getting stuff done for Solo Sikoa. So it's going to turn into a situation where who is WWE going to end up pushing as the most powerful member of the Bloodline? And then is that going to be the story going forward? When Solo gets his match against Roman Reigns for the Ula Fala, is it going to be more like, Solo can't get it done without Jacob Fatu? Because back in the day with Roman, it was he probably could get it done, but he uses the Bloodline for interference and distractions and whatnot. In the case of Solo Sikoa, is it going to be so overwhelmingly obvious that Jacob Fatu, that Solo would be nowhere without Jacob Fatu? I don't know. I don't know how they're going to play this, or if they're going to make Solo look weak by comparison. Are we going to get a Solo Jacob Fatu feud 2 years from now? I don't know exactly how that's going to go down. People have noted that when Solo was wearing that Ula Fala, we were putting their ones up, Jacob Fatu looked over at the Ula Fala. It's like that ring in the Lord of the Rings. Everybody wants a piece of it. So yeah, in terms of the star power, the charisma, obviously the guy moves around like a madman, and it's just infectious. He's got that charisma. Of course, he's been doing it a lot longer than Solo Sikoa as well. I remember seeing him at, I think it was MVP Sports at Action Coast Wrestling back in 2011, Jacob Fatu. I had no idea at the time that he was going to be who he became. Otherwise, I'd have, I don't know, gotten his autograph or something. He was 20 at the time. Anyways, that's not really important. Yeah, Jacob Fatu, absolute star. I like that he's the big difference maker there in the Bloodline. Thrawn1593 says Carmelo rolling up on 3 married women and hitting on them was pretty funny. Yeah, I really liked what they did this week with Carmelo Hayes, really making it into a series with Andrade. Now he's got 1 win against Andrade's 2, and yet he's celebrating like he just won the World Series, and their feud gets kicked up a notch with another awesome match. It reminds me of Andrade versus Rey Mysterio back during the, I think it was the pandemic years. Was that during the pandemic years? I don't know, whatever it was, where they just had phenomenal match after phenomenal match after phenomenal match. Really good stuff. And yeah, same with this week. The match was absolutely phenomenal. And I expect that we're going to get at least a best of 5, maybe even a best of 7 here. Ad Savage says the way Solo Sikoa was treated this episode, you would think he wasn't the leader of his own group. I kind of disagree. I mean, the guy is directing traffic. The guy is laying out the rules. The guy is laying out how it works. He tells Tama Tonga, with this right here, you acknowledge me. If Roman gets this, I'm going to acknowledge him. Whoever's the tribal chief is the guy who's acknowledged, and that's sort of laying the groundwork for how this works. Right now, he's in possession of the Ula Fala. If Roman Reigns, he picked it up for I don't know, he had it for a minute or so. In that minute span of time, was he the tribal chief? Because then he got attacked. So what actually dictates who the tribal chief is and who is the leader of the Bloodline? How long do you have to have the Ula Fala for them to be oh, I can't attack you now. I got to put my ones up instead. So there's still some ambiguity behind it. But yeah, I don't know. He's still front and center. He's still the head guy. So he's got the ringer on his team, Jacob Fatu. Wrestle Recap says Montez Ford needs the Jey Uso treatment. He'd have the whole crowd yeeting all over themselves. Well, he have to get his own gimmick. But I don't disagree with this. I think the tag match was absolutely phenomenal. We all know that. We all saw it. It was great. And then the Street Profits said they're going to lose the Bloodline. I'm assuming it's going to be Jacob. Jacob probably is going to take that walking boot off next week because there's that tag match. So I think, obviously Street Profits are going to lose this. Is that going to be the thing? Because at that point, there's no more path for them to do much of anything as a group. Are we finally going to get the Montez Ford solo push? No disrespect meant to Dawkins. I think he's terrific. But Montez Ford, ever since that one Elimination Chamber where he was in the chamber and he had that new outfit of his, looked all snazzy, it looked like a single star. He looked like a solo wrestler star. I thought it was awesome. Hopefully he gets that, because I agree. I don't know about the yeeting thing because that's Jey Uso's, but he can definitely come up with his own thing, and I think he'd be super over with the crowd. Arkham Prince says Andrade is the perfect choice for the next United States champion. I know LA Knight, I just got the strap and want to let him cook. But when the time comes, I hope to put the belt on him next. His ability to heat up the crowd and get them behind him is incredible. Week to week, he gets this is awesome chance slowly coming to his own. Yeah, I don't disagree with this. I think in terms of who's going to be the next United States champion, they're taking this, here's the thing. He's not challenging LA Knight for it now. That's Santos Escobar. And he's not going to win it. And Carmelo might come out of this series as the next guy after Santos Escobar. He's not going to win it yet. After that could be Andrade. So we're looking at maybe, I don't know, 4 to 8 months before LA Knight drops it. Maybe at WrestleMania. I don't know. But Andrade would be, he's already been U.S. champion, of course, but this iteration of Andrade, I would get behind that as United States champion. I think it'd be pretty great. Tyler Warden says the Street Profits are going to be made an example of. That tag title match is going to set the pace for how well Bad Bloodline can navigate the sea of who gives a fuck in the tag division. So, look, last night went a long way. It's funny how, really good matches can just go a long way towards making people give a shit about any division for that matter. And so when you put on a match like they did last night with Gargano and Ciampa versus the Street Profits, it starts to make people care again. I still think that the Bloodline's gonna win this, but if they can generate some stories outside of the title scene for the tag team division, that would be ideal. Because otherwise, Street Profits gonna lose, and then it's gonna go back to, are people gonna care about the tag division as long as the Bad Bloodline just have those titles, and all they're given, all the tag division is given, is just a bunch of number one contender matches. David Mitchell Baker says, give Roman the mic. So much has happened to his bloodline since WrestleMania, and all we gotten from his return is a couple of near identical bras. I agree. This is my one. I am not a huge fan with how Roman Reigns came back. He came back. We all knew when he was going to come back. It was to basically save Cody. We all know that. And he did that, or we all knew that going in. He did that. He sort of stared at Cody, and then he went back. And then he comes out. He beats up the Bad Bloodline again because he did that first at SummerSlam. And then he gets beat down by the Bad Blood. Can we get the guy? I want to know what's on his mind. And he's always been a guy who has done a lot less talking since he came back. He lets Heyman do a lot of the talking for him. His premise is pretty simple. I'm the tribal chief. I sit at the head of the table. I make all the money around here so everybody else can eat. But I really, you want to know what's going on inside the guy's head. Now, do we have to wait for Paul Heyman for that to happen? Is Roman's response to this beatdown going to be the thing that gets us to a point where we have to hear what he has to say? I agree. I want to hear what the guy has to say because a lot has happened. And I guess the idea is he's speaking through his actions, not his words. But I agree with this. I kind of wish that they just gave him the mic at some point. Kami Chameleon says the feud between Carmelo Hayes and Andrade is the best thing on SmackDown each week. It has been really good. It's been really good. This is the week where it sort of turned a certain corner for me. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is good. 2-1. All right. I see where this is going. Anthony R says, I like this sort of new group with Nia Jax, Pretty Deadly, and Tiffany Stratton. I think this could finally give something pretty deadly to do. I hope that I agree with this. I hope they keep it like this. I think that'd be good. And then eventually Tiffany cashes in on Nia Jax, but I think it's going to be a while before that happens. Let's move to the thumbnail image that I'm using here. Alex Good says the Pretty Deadly song and dance was amazing. No, it wasn't. But here's the thing. It could have been good. Number one, I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did. There were kind of audio issues. And I understand the point of Pretty Deadly and their stupid musical is they're idiots and the routine wasn't going to be very good. This would have been so much fucking funnier if they actually nailed the thing, if it was really good. But they were like out of sync. I think Kit Wilson like forgot seemingly some of the lines and was trying to remember them. The dance was all over the place and the audio issues were a mess. Like, I don't know if the mics they were given were like being echoed by the arena mics. I don't know what was going on here, and I could barely make out the lyrics to the song. If they had spent all this time actually, because I don't know how much time they had to prepare this or when they were told, hey, this is the date you're going to be doing this thing. But they really should have planned this so well in advance that it was totally and completely on point. I know that the point is, oh, it's supposed to be bad, but it's so much more funnier if it's really good. And then, it still breaks down and gets interrupted because then people will be like, oh my God, this is actually pretty good. And then you get people clamoring for more and then Pretty Deadly can get over as an act. But it was sloppy and it was crappy. And that's not as funny as if it was just really, really good. It went on too long. Nia should have attacked them, but instead Michin did. And so, yeah, I don't think it was amazing. I think it would have been awesome if it was amazing, though. Mr. Augie here in his best rock impression says if there was a SmackDown hotel over on Know Your Role Boulevard, Solo would probably be a bathroom attendant and try to charge you if you want to take more than one of the free mints. I kind of feel like that's Tongaloa. I could see Solo being like an assistant manager at the SmackDown hotel. The Genuine Fake says Andrade spinning elbow is better than 90% of the finishers out there. It rules. Yeah, it's awesome. And Carmelo sold it like $1 million. It was great. The Observer here says May 8th, WrestleVotes put out the tweet. Some trepidation remains within creative over fear that Fatu's presence could outshine Solo at this stage. June 21st, Jacob Fatu debuts and takes out Orton, Owens, and Rhodes single-handedly. WWE PR has played a part in presenting one of the most successful monster pushes in wrestling history. I think between that and them like faking real injuries, which I still think is a thing, I think you're absolutely right. I think the WWE machine is all kind of like on message, working in tandem to get this stuff out there. So I don't disagree with this. I think you might be right onto something, Rob. The Champ 3875 says I don't think Roman shouldn't have been able to put on the Ulafala. He should have been cut off by Fatu before doing it. I don't actually disagree with this. He only had it on for like a minute. And at that point, because like, here's the thing, if he has it, we need rules about the Zula Fala. If somebody actually puts it on, doesn't that make them the tribal chief? What is possession of the Ulafala? Cars of Earth says Nia has been the best presented king/queen in modern day. I agree. That crown of hers, I think I heard that it was, there's an alarm. I think it was designed by Jason Baker, the guy who did the Bray Wyatt stuff. Looks amazing. Her coming out on the sedan chair was great. Yeah, I think her presentation as Queen Nia has been fantastic. Maggie says justice for Bailey because WTF, I'm not even saying a championship, but can we give her a story? Wait, for who? Bailey. Who's Bailey? Let me look this up. Oh, I remember her. Yeah, where has she been? What's going on with Bailey? She was not even given a story after WrestleMania. Then she loses the title and she's completely gone. What the fuck? Where is she? What's going on? Shotgun Sean pointing out, I take it Michin is not a fan of the arts and evidently just musicals. All right, this one's wild. Logan Willis says, hear me out. The Rock is going to drop the L into a gun position and start a new Bullet Club. He handed Cody a bullet months ago. Everything leading to OG Bloodline versus some form of Bullet Club. WWE, New Japan working together. I don't even know if I'd like to see that. That would be so bizarre. It's like, what is happening right now? I would start laughing. Probably a lot. Jeff Hardy Fan 316 says, shut it down. All right, Jeff Hardy Fan 316, we'll shut it down. Thanks, everybody, for your hot takes. I appreciate it. I'll be back. I think I did like a reaction to Reddit stuff yesterday, so I'll put that up tomorrow. Thanks for tuning in. Appreciate it. Do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. Hit this subscribe button. We'll see you guys around.